It's my very great honor now to introduce our guest of honor. The Honourable Linda Jeffrey has been an active member of the Brampton community for more than 25 years. First elected in 1991, she served 4 consecutive terms on Brampton City Council. In 2003, she decided to try her hand at provincial politics and soon became the first female candidate elected to represent Brampton at Queen's Park. She was re-elected in 2007 and 2011. In January 2010, she was asked by the Premier to join Cabinet as the Minister of Natural Resources. In this role, Minister Jeffrey worked to deliver the Far North Act, a unique piece of legislation which ensures First Nations and the Ontario government collaboratively map an integrated network of conservation lands across the far north that would permanently protect our boreal forest and more than 200 sensitive species. After the 2011 election, she was appointed the Minister of Labour and Minister responsible for seniors, where she helped to implement the Retirement Homes Regulation Authority and Ontario's Action Plan for Seniors. In February of 2013, Linda was given the opportunity to return to her municipal roots as she was appointed the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing by the new government. Minister Jeffrey serves on the Treasury Board, Priorities and Planning Committee, the Cabinet Committee on Poverty Reduction, Cabinet Committee on Emergency Management, and is the Chair of Cabinet. Please help me to welcome the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Linda Jeffrey.
Good morning. Sylvia stole a lot of my thunder. She spoke a lot about issues that I want to talk about this morning, so you may hear some repetition in some of the things that we both feel are very important. So thank you, Sylvia, for the introduction, and happy 25th, everybody. I didn't know it had been 25 years, so congratulations. And I want to thank all of the members of the Ontario Nonprofit Housing Association for the work that you do every single day in nonprofit housing, making it work for families across Ontario. Thank you very much. You provide people with more than just bricks and mortar. You provide them with safe, affordable, and accessible places to live where they can thrive. I share your passion about the need for more affordable housing in Ontario. When I met with you this past spring, I remember being impressed by your dedication to the people that you represent and that you work for. Your tenants include some of our most disadvantaged, the vulnerable, and the at-risk members of our society. The task of ensuring that every child, every family, every older adult in Ontario has a safe place to live and call home is something that we all need to work on together. It's an ongoing challenge, and it's an issue I know that we're all determined to tackle together. This morning I'm here actually to talk to you about how we're going to strengthen our nonprofit housing sector in Ontario. But before I do, I wanted to share with you some of the decisions that we're doing in Ontario to help maintain and build on an existing affordable housing and social housing stock. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I think is something you should be thinking about in the future, and that's more about strategic conversations and activities that you might want to consider in the future. These conferences are more than just networking opportunities. They serve an important purpose. They're a good place to talk about best practices and to share success stories, but they also help you take stock or take pulse and evaluate the activities that you're doing, the things you've done in the last year, the things that you're thinking of doing in the future, and it's a place to set new goals to up your game going forward in the future. When it comes to achieving better outcomes with government, some people think that there's a trick to it. Others believe that in order to get things done with government, you need connections. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I think those are myths. I don't think they're actually truthful. So I'm here to tell you that at the end of the day, I think you're going to get more accomplished if you don't believe in either of those myths. If you can find a way to help government meet its goals while at the same time meeting your own, that's the measure of it. There's no trick. It demands a lot of thinking. It demands preparation and hard work. Governments of all levels, whether they're municipal, provincial, or federal, all try to serve the public interest. And that's where the strategic thinking on your part comes in. Once you understand government's goals and points of view, you can make better, more constructive suggestions about ways that government can meet their goals at the same time you meet your own. Because at the end of the day, affordable housing isn't just a federal issue. It's not just a provincial issue. It's not just a municipal issue. It's a societal issue. And we need consensus. We need to make it easier for government officials to make decisions that you'd like them to make. So my advice, please, is to you, please make sure you're speaking to everybody in your community. Make sure you speak to local elected officials, no matter what level of government they're at. Talk about your goals to chambers of commerce. Talk to all community groups, school trustees, whoever you run into in your circle of friends, chat with them. Because increased housing is in the public interest. It's just the right thing to do. Because a place to call home is the first step out of poverty. It's the first step to realizing new opportunities, and it's the first step to a better quality of life. When people are given the opportunity to live in safe and affordable housing, our communities thrive. And as Sylvia talked about earlier, they're healthier. They're physically and mentally healthier, and naturally, their children do better in school. Affordable housing not only benefits families, there's also a very strong business case to be made, and Sylvia talked about the revenues to government, which also perks up my ears, but it perks up the interests of all government's ears because it's a benefit to all communities. People with secure housing to help the economy, people with secure housing help the economy, and they're better prepared to enter the workforce. And building affordable housing creates thousands of jobs across the province. When people have access to secure and affordable housing, they help the economy because they're better ready and able to enter the workforce. The challenge is that building affordable housing projects take a long time. They take a long time to construct, and they're expensive. But at the end of the day, all three levels of government have a stake in building it and making it work. For the growth and the economic success of Ontario cities, we need to do it. But I don't need to tell you how important good housing is to our communities. You're on the front line. You're in the trenches of this issue. So I'm here to tell you that affordable housing is a priority for our government as well. So what are we going to do about it? In 2011 and 12, my ministry worked with you and other stakeholders to develop the Community Homelessness Prevention Initiative. During those consultations, we heard that there needed to be more flexibility in the way that the funds were distributed. We also heard that you were spending too much time on administration, reporting back up the chain on a range of programs. So based on your advice, last January we consolidated 5 homelessness-related programs into one to give service managers more flexibility to help individuals and families who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. So how can we continue to move forward on our shared agenda? You've seen our commitment to affordable housing and providing innovative approaches to dealing with the problems that we face, but we can't do it alone. I want your feedback, not only on this program, but how we as a government can improve the delivery of all of our programs. Let me rephrase that. I not only want your advice, I need your advice. I need your help because I know that there's still more work to be done. And I don't have to tell you that the federal government is clearly stepping away from working with other levels of government on the issue of housing. Under the current social housing agreement, federal transfers will dry up. They're going to evaporate by 2023. We're already seeing the effects of this general and gradual abdication of responsibility. Social housing projects from Windsor to Ottawa, from Toronto to Thunder Bay, are at risk of losing federal funding. That decision will leave Ontario and municipalities footing the bill. We just can't make up the difference. We can't do it alone. And unless the federal government changes course, things are only going to get worse. In June, I sat down with my provincial and territorial ministerial counterparts to discuss how to better engage the federal government in a long-term funding commitment. To date, there's been a lack of receptivity, a coolness on the part of the federal government to even discuss long-term funding commitment. The premiers have also been calling attention to this lack of federal engagement on housing. And it's not just the provinces that are collectively voicing their concern on the state of where things are. This summer, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities took a stand. They issued a statement calling for a long-term federal housing commitment. So for those of you that have heard me speak before, maybe one or two of you have, You'll know that it's rare that I give a speech where I don't assign some homework. It must be because I'm a daughter of a teacher. I think it's only fair because I'm a daughter of a teacher. I learned that when I do a little bit of homework, I expect my audience to do a little bit back. But don't be scared, you didn't need to prepare for this one. So here's your homework. It's really short. There are 2 asks. The first is, as I said earlier, I want you to go out and find a group you've never approached before and talk to them about the need for affordable housing. Ask them to help us. Ask them to talk about this issue because we need to be talking about this issue more and more. Secondly, I invite you to join our government in asking the federal government to return to the table as a long-term partner in funding and affordable housing because the need is real and is becoming more urgent by the day. Please keep doing what you're doing. Your members have been consistent and vocal champions. You're wonderful advocates. And over the last 2 decades, you've been speaking for the nonprofit housing sector in Ontario. Thank you for what you've been doing. The more voices we have on board, the harder it will be for government of all levels to shrug off this responsibility or ignore this issue. There's no time to waste. We need to act now. That's why our government will work with you to ensure nonprofit housing continues to succeed in Ontario. That is a powerful commitment that we share, and we believe it's our greatest asset. So on behalf of Premier Wynne and our government and the people of Ontario, happy 25th. Keep doing a great job. Have a great conference. Thank you.